in us. So what we go to new couple of the new Marlins, but then we go to free show. To should leak screech mal go in yearly can show Robug ni scared because his brave father's this text so Robug ni scared in show so yanima lock my factor the show I guess current agava fridge Edmodo in a year wrong I guess just Kaisha Segas just the old go meister shivabalta okay so Tasha Majaf do we la theorem or axiom and so an axiom so when you share insular and shan to axiom on the reches so it's a statement a lockter go all fear gang crew agus is a remer bon le hay chorus of foberch so to lear more axioms la folum jante ag fochonian chasta social will come ne ag then you be axioms to be around you fonian chasta social. No, right, okay, right. So I just lock him on the wall. Come you give a rudder be geometry run you from in Chester social. So just Tash image on Tash image just right free. So it is social axiom reaches it on a lock to culture fear. So a statement that's been already proven. So in your fair day crew, I guess Higlini usage in Shen Lehay chorus of Fulbert. So Fed theorem run you for your junior shirt, will then you be able to do?
Sure. Can
you theorem?
Yeah.
Sinead?
Yeah.
Oh. What is good can you theorem run you? Did you hear a recurse?
Proof that all the angles in a triangle are at 280.
Can bloody cost right. Ag funny junior shirt before go mo jahir jantaguf. I guess ta shall lock go wall is a gushin off by heart inside out na hin to reg gene archest. So when the rojantaguf a kahar then ta shi masal shashiraku. Now punch all this for the theorems. Jockey should the knees a pepper screw yes. Cheek should go knees or pepper screw the good news is from your grade level, hawk like in the be aku heart the knees, I guess courage the art for the theorem shun. Whereas from your art level, cheek 3 theorem knees. Theorem hinjik, doyik, I guess theorem trijik. So when you look at that through all of them. Now tasha laku go wallace a give a J theorem a V or a junior shirt. So so just Maraham Fridge just Malacum just in my screen bug and show a second just right my fridge like my one my able to thank you my soreness my human Adeline or my reverend shop my hinch of a shot lock noted the shop because Tash or go look you live between you the shop has been the fridge share screen. So just a couple of seconds. So image share screen. I guess back image new tab. We should get another link and I can list Google. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's in Google. So lock note the shop because Tay shop go look at you live near to me genuine the theorems. So it is me to shahan www.projectmaths. So into shahan projectmaths.ie. I guess the what's the boiling to teacher area, to student area, I guess into team maths exam. So we're into shahan student area. Was I get punches on show. I guess after he's in junior cert activities, leaving cert activities. So it is in college and leaving cert activities. Okay, I guess it is the stats probability being generation later on. The numbers jant going to algebra jant going. So it is hígla gur rudí to leo mór álas an sin, but mé se han geometry agus trigonometry. Now, is the geometry agus trigonometry an lín. A rééis mat géirí hígla hála se han legan Gaelic, agus fi sé legan Gaelic fasta, but just go like merle for now. So, a rééis tefi tú na axioms, na theorems agus na corollaries le fólam cursa art level. So, a rééis theorem seart artíú dáú tríidir séidir seartú artú fi agus fi sa hín. Okay? Now, sin na theorems. So, cai alles of a good in the theorems, but you feart your dolem off by heart a went through 3 theorem. Agus a 3 theorem cai dolem off by heart na theorem hínjig, dáig, agus 3jig. Now, mecca tas sin, tamid marsal theorem hín, dá, 3, ceher, quig, agus sé. Tamid marsal theorem nui, agus j. Now, mialo sin, tas sin actually cursa junior cert activities. So, a reached sin 3 theorem a telefolum off by heart for higher level only, theorem hínjig, dáig, agus 3jig. Agus a reached na constructions. So, reached by math set, you all have compass, agus rod la we add the constructions yenu, agus the transformations le genu, agus an sin trigonometry, agus geometry, nishin really all funny geometry go forth. So, a reached by me gobber per machine ner te genu kestni maths or kestni master text or wallentiv see show usage was rud to my food of mer hamplement as a sha in cost theorem over hínjig an sin. The GeoGebra on agus the student activities. So mean to share GeoGebra agus open in GeoGebra tube. Okay, me say another chat. Right, the body has rud le generation, so I just go back. So he gave him trial logos Johansson. Usually he let just occur. My screen, my vloggers, my and tabarage. Package show. So fine with us. So you add and fail a hour. Error, right. So when you get trial gag, you will add the follow shot and you will add the follow shot in GeoGebra tube and shot land whole free to theorem. You must add the asking shot or my readers in you check them ahead when my able to ask later on. Okay. Well, other line again, and it is online, so because you are right, Chanel. So anyway, primary free ne theorems, I guess lema free ne noti tokumen shaw my text or so you know stop screen share. Okay, so just lahar free you chaw and shaw. So it is theorem. So the theorem on the right is a cruhi fear. So a statement that we prove true. Proof cruhiness is cruhiness regis jantus the axiom. Bon tuskine agus arguinchi. So it is to jantus the axioms bon tuskine agus arguinchi definitions agus arguments. Eg bonu and feeding you the regis journa away. Axiom an axiom is statement. So there's on the regis a lot of goal fear gan cruhu agus is a germer bon lehe chorus a obert. Now, Merkit has a three continuation theorem proof agus axiom or lehana ke chaska chart. Cosla axiom is an sample when the axiom there is exactly one line through 2 given points. Okay. Now, Baymid got freed na axioms the theorems ligin shin screech mahagum agus and shin na axioms and shin screech mahagum or lian and shaw. So axiom heen dot see ke has rama freechin live agus na qualities and shin faster. Lig jantin sin go faster. So the ahan rod ar na lehanní shot go door on, but a reached kai we just lay free agus kaite olam off by heart. Okay, go meister tabelte. Now, ma hashmich a head canala me to heart gene head lehana alle go quality. So sin lehana ke chaska art and shot to quality and shot. So quality a quality follows after a theorem and it is a proposition which must be true because of that theorem. So, Lianan a charu in a theorem. Agus a te on the Tarishkinch, a chaithir a bheith fear maialar a tírim sin. Now, cheek carwer, hannig sé níos with when the birch or pepper scrutiny, whereas just define the following statements. So, cosla hannig questiones, could you read quality, could you read converse, could you read implies, because yoga just a screw and fockly. So, shaw really question shaw agus stats a chain nature he kite statements agus definitions of screw ma. The hig should níos rovanik, but at least hockle of a heart níos of the pepper scrutiny, so kite a dole. Okay? Now, at least Ramidregi conversion. So the converse of a theorem is formed by taking the conclusion at the starting point and having the starting point as the conclusion. So this co-inverta hermager converse. So the co-inverta the theorem, jante tre glocku and conclude, mer pontitasi, agus an pontitasi mer conclude. And just like the venue, Robert Esker venue, but she did could you Carnog. So you're to Carnog on the crew le fad tiu in the league mar gerne. Okay, so on the KT agus den KT will league fad gerne. Now Malakatas and code Varta dashan due to just kind of the flipland to back to front tap. So due to KT a league fad gerne tasha on the Carnog and that's right to Carnog on the KT lish ahanti with fad gerne. So reach to flipal bella harta. Do I hear the hocklet red goal equilateral triangle ten elna league shaska key. Or in converse station that red goal mata shaska came in ahan ellen in triantan tasha an equilateral triangle. Which is okay again and you can show rod my retention for co and barta. Ellen implies so it is Lyrian and Turkey. So it is Gaelic implies this in Turkey. Gael logical other reches. So it's a logical relationship between two statements. Nos Mata and Kid can fear Russian Kahi and Darni can have fear. So Cheftish and Chatnese in Snatirums, whereas Mata Rodawain fear, I guess the Rodella fear, then Kahi had Rodella fear. So Sinechi Hig and Turkey in East. Okay. Kanala is equivalent to. Now, so Kovesha is equivalent to. So Jerta Gol Yerod Kavasa Mateshid or an Luakerne a forma ha excellent. So Merhample Nuishkin the tree. Shin ever a tree, so Nui ranter tree, agus she ranter da at least Teshid equivalent because to daddy da Brumagajin Rod Kerne. Kanala F and only F. So Chefitu Hisig bon Lehana Chaska Artension. Must rod A agus a wine must rod A. So you know the Jewish F and only F. So this screen mer IFF. So we get it garage. So it is he F and only F Mercantur bon Lehana Chaska Art. A is true, F and only if B is true. Means that either A or B are both true or they are both false. So if they're asked to prove that A is true, F and only if B are true, we often have to prove that B implies A and that A implies B only F. So F and only F is often abbreviated to IFF. So sample dashen. Quadrilateral is a parallelogram F and only if both pairs of opposite sides are equal in length. So the reach Shininachi and F and only F is Sha. Now, proof for contradiction. So Kruhut say Brignu, we shouldn't jump to go in CK chapter image Kruhut Guru, Pregarni Da A Kavista. So it is proof of contradiction. So Kruhinus tre Brignu, as a Kruhinus tre Brignu, no Kruhinus on a genter 4 CU wine. So 4 CU is kind of a proposition, okay? Or Tarishkint, a hocklet right fast, and there's genter Tarishkint, a wine, and Chen Igusaj arguinchi bali, shockter retis at a brega gusalier, I guess Marshen you wore 4 CU bonul ave brega. So reached my sweetenship a sample the proof of contradiction in the room just square root 2 or square root 3 or square root 5. Tamiji gubber or can you get hashimage a red narrow square root 2 grosha rational agus nu jad descriu into form A can be into form simply, and then cruhimidin na roche into form simply, which is a proof by contradiction. So shin na chanigi contradiction is ja, and therefore kahi square root 2 of A are rational. Okay, so shin it theorems italafolum suskuji exercise 9.1. So Dice fossil just all for each on the Tasha exercise 9.1 is just rhyme for each. Okay, so Mahashmij off exercise 9.1. Now in your fair short species, so just limit freed in the Kestney, Rama freed in the Friggery, J. Healing Shivhain, Kurma Kestney Arav, and Rymage range in Gujin head, Rymage range in Gujin head section. Okay, so Mahashmij off Keshivrahin, just get my kin. Participant list of for Brendan Caitlin's on it. Right. So a square is a figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length. Okay. Now, would you consider this statement a definition, an axiom, or a theorem? So Tashmid lots of Roche, or would you get just then you be Hartishanshan or just Pakima then you have to random? Then you be Gary Lortla. Would just pack him out then you're random, or would you just then you be Gary had is just for a group or two or statement? Nah.
I don't know.
No, let's go. Right, just pack him out then you're random, and then sure, what is your dad for a group or two? So be it's on the wall. Right, so that's what that's a Jamesy. Right. A square is a figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length. Okay. Now, would you consider this a statement of this statement a definition, an axiom, or a theorem? Now, just to the imagery, the Bertil and Chinnig Bun Yahenda Kachaska the definition against proposition na ro Nyashin screeches and noti. So it is Chiglavin a Verchakushin Scripture. So definition is the exact explanation of a term. So it's just meaning the term at a usage for Hanya Chelu Ober against proposition. A Gaelic proposition is in species na Tarishkint. So shin T-A-I-R-I-S-C-I-N-T. So make the funny focal and chop proposition, scribes I Gaelic and Aculis, shin Tarishkint. T-A-I-R-I-S-C-I-N-T. Okay, so in our work we will treat a proposition as an interesting statement of facts that can be proved. So wretches etimajable de kruhu, but whose proof is not required for our course. When you fair ne kruhu for your course etimajenu for your leaving cert. Now, so the intercostal theorem, which proof we do not need. So sometimes we will provide an explanation of a proposition. So Carby Biogun mean you horse proposition or Tarishkins. Okay. Right. So it is Jamesy. A square is a figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length. Would you consider this statement a definition, an axiom, or a theorem? And give a reason.
Axiom.
T factu axiom.
Accepted and proved.
Right, so Malian statement, right? A square is a figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length. So these rather than na menu, that would be a definition. Okay. Now just give me Yamashin. Okay, so give a reason because Tashag menu and Cherma square. Because Tashag menu could square, it's a definition. So can you come a definition is the exact explanation of a term. So Tashag doing menu could square. So a square is a figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length. So therefore menu term. Okay, well on the new okay lesson. Now, what would the converse of this statement? So Jane and Varta evolution Jamesy. So just flip a statement back to front.
A figure with 4 perpendicular sides of equal length is a square.
Perfect. Yeah. So Shin, that would be the converse. A figure of what 4 perpendicular sides of equal length is a square. I guess you know that in Co and Varta. Okay. Now, do you think this is true? and give a reason. So Tash and fear because there's just a menu exactly could you rod Carnock. So there's just a menu Jiro Carnock perpendicular sides of equal length. So reached Kaisha with fear. Okay, right. Question of redemption earn. If a four-sided figure is a rectangle, then the lengths of its two diagonals are equal. So reached was speaking to the question. So a rectangle, I guess if a four-sided figure is a rectangle, then the length of its two diagonals, so diagonals in the shun, I guess the diagonals in the shun are equal. So explain why this statement is a theorem rather than a definition or an axiom.
I don't know.
Right. Well, then you'd be able to figure out your shin. T watching on the definition on the theorem in that definition. So which is their definition? It explains the exact explanation of a term. Now, what the diagonals on the term near? Okay, so therefore it can't be a definition. Okay, near actually mean you term would be in short. But there's actually a reaches doing the property. So it gives a statement of a property. So it means kind of drawn a log, because there's a right that the diagonals are equal. So last year there's actually doing is stating a property of a rectangle. A kaimut kruhu. Kaimut then you add the kruhu goal the fortune. So therefore theorem to go on. Okay. Right, much free to chop because this rubber cast and net make quick gesture. Just right my free the question love. Okay. Now so explain why this statement is a theorem rather than a definition or an axiom. So it is function there's a theorem because Nielsen mean you term would be. There's actually just a reaches the ari then rectangle a chahir a kruhu. Okay. Part of the door. What is the hypothesis or condition in this statement? Now, a hypothesis in the question is drawn a log on the crew kayutiwa. Okay, so it's a hypothesis. It is a conclusion is kaimajuni kenchi goal of fad then the diagonals or a covage or a fad kernel. Okay. Part of the tree. What is the converse of the statement? So it is just flipping the harta. So what in the diagonals, the crew kayatiwa or covage, then 10 crew on the drawn a look. Okay. Now, Walsha fear, do you think this is true? So I'm speaking to say finish crew merchant ten diagonal the converse diagonal of fad kerne. But Jeff Maharnim says crew merchant just get you. Now Maharm says the diagonal station. I guess ocean gujishan. On the diagonal in the fad kerne. Then the diagonal in the fad kerne. So ten nearly conversion golove fear. Because Hokalatse Merhamplinchen, Higlet Nielsen on the in the trapezoid, so it is Nielsen on the drawn elog. So it is just because there's the magendo converse carbon you new converse fear in converse. Okay. Question 3, part A. In a triangle, the sum of the measures of all angles is 180 degrees. So Céimseata, Mohammed is just A, B equals C. This is Kodjumla K Dartmouth degrees. So the A plus B plus C Kodjumla K Dartmouth degrees. Okay. Now explain. I guess every B and Chen, no angle in a triangle can measure more than 180 degrees. So at least what the angle B is small. Na Kodjumla K Dartmouth degrees. Then Triantan go in the line of Gira. so which is not a triangle. So reached ni an that for Jacob bug is any within Céimseata like Cocklas in the Kate sharp money degrees, again half a degrees, again half a degrees. The Nubala be Higlin Céimseata Harange at a Kate Armo degrees. Okay, so shin A, again B and shin image add the Céimseata. Now, explain why the statement A is a theorem. So reached T will A in the theorem. Because there's a general reaches for the triangle a high image of crew. So reached must reach into there's a reach to A plus B plus C cosmic K dark degrees. Now she can do the theorems V or a junior start. So reach there's a theorem because there's a doing reaches. So in a triangle, the sum of measures of all angles is 180 degrees. So there's a doing reaches a high image of crew. So therefore there's on the theorem. Okay. The darn part, explain why the statement is theorem. Now, what is the hypothesis or condition in this statement? Okay, so conjugate condition it ends the statement. So rather than na goal Céimseata. So that's the hypothesis is goal Céimseata. So do I hear the hypothesis jog grosha on the tron alog. So in jog goal Céimseata. I guess it concludes is goal sum at 3 Ellen quadrant K dark degrees. Okay, so shouldn't conclude to me getty goal the sum at 3 Ellen ABC quadrant K dark degrees. Part journal, just 3 part 3. Explain why B should be considered a corollary of A. Now, reached just look back to corollary. Reached so to a tower to get into so may open to the text lore. I guess a corollary. So a corollary is a statement that follows directly from a theorem. It is generally not different enough from the theorem to be called a new theorem. So the example below follows from this theorem. So no angle in a triangle can be larger than 180 degrees. So show the corollary. Okay. So it is for your part 3 to be directly a chart O statement A. So for your statement B, there's no angle in a triangle can equal 180 degrees. Okay, because much in truer quadrant K dark degrees, so in truer then you'll do be a jigla Ellen away event Céimseata K dark degrees. Okay, so because there's a chart Jira own theorem, shaw and shaw, I guess me all the shin tasha on the corollary. Okay. So explain why B should be considered a corollary of A, because there's such a Jira on reaches rummage on your part A. Okay. Jira Nuskiji kist every keher. So kist every keher, X, Y, Z are points on a plane. So reached must reach within your plane to X, Y, and Z are points on a plane. So just with 3 function. During X, Y, I guess during Z. Okay. Now, the distance from X to Y plus the distance from Y to Z is equal to the distance from X to Z. So reach X to Y equals X to Z. So reach millimeter. The distance from X to Y, so fad o X could Y, plus the distance from Y to Z is equal to the distance from X to Z. So to fad o X could Y equals X could Y could Z, cosmon fad o X could Z. So it is shinarot a right line. Now, Y lies on a line through X and a Z. Kai should be because mutan fado shin plus the fado shin cosmon fado X could Z. Well, not necessarily. Hokla X could Z to be in fadsion. Then Tesha got in the Céimseata yellow fad kern go on, so Kaisha in the lineage. Okay. Now, so Y lies on the line through X and Z and lies between X and Z. So there's no condition. So do you think that A implies B and give a reason? So erase mean to back G implies. So erase implies the statement A implies B means that if A is true, then B must be true. Okay. So make it as a does A imply B? So we get to check out what A implies B. Okay, so reached now mata afad XY codrumla plus Y is said kaishu codrumla X is said. So in this statement A togun in then kaihi Y eventually erline X Y. Because then fad X Y plus Y is said codrumla X is said. So kaihi line. Otherwise, we're X Y is said on the chantan monero. Okay, which on the chantan monero. So question do you think that A implies B and give a reason? So Kahisha implied because with the XY plus Y is said, Cosma X is said, then Kahi Y Verlina X is said. Okay, otherwise which are on the chantan. Okay, so merhamplet team which on the chantan do I call X G Y in shin because Abu Grofad Y G said the fortune. Agus den fado X go dí cain fáin plus a fáin bhí codm se fáin sin den. Smuiti sem mar chain sin láchtas fáin is fáin tá sin go bhga síos agus tá se go bhé na lína díra. So therefore otherwise which on the trend. Okay? So sin part over the heen. Now, do you think that B implies A and give a reason? Now, just fame kerne ríis funne eag hín agus dát an fame kerne. Ríis mat an fada der X is a said, then mat a Y a lína, then caihi XY a bheith codrumla plus Y is said go bheith codrumla X is said. Okay, so fame kerne sin dói kerne. Okay, part 3. Is it true to say that A is true if and only if B is true? And give a reason. So it is A is true if and only B is true because each implies the other. Because A implies B and B implies A, then therefore Kaisha will fear that if A is true, then if and only Kaihi B be fear. Okay? Right. So hopefully very soon rubbug da teagvaldív dói hig na fakli nís. Tasum to show bishop na hi igéis just called oh my god and absolutely klugum kin jeta gallery. Rod the laka yenu is laka C agus na definition show olum. So could imashi chin aguf inish jerin wrong. C agus fall in the definitions. Agus funny upper balle the much you're able to funny the lune kiss you quick she shart agus art a real do go meister you able to. Okay. Go free the definitions and then the hook which rash the lune Rahimud Lanimajare Lan axioms so being a notice all give now the mutuality chart and telema or you disagree with ma either way which is just the much league give so there's the malay free but you able to me alliance in the hitla ella. Okay. Nabi worry for that man will have to catch a quick share shards art in a grammar free and live anyway the loon but trial but he can to na fakle seo league that had his first in the kitchen seo yenu that should rubber caster but a reached kaitu the definition solo well kitchen then you be
well but Jenny zoomed on wrong to learn.
Would you get assumed done you wrong or would you get upper done you wrong or assumed and down the wrong? I suppose you know assumed done you wrong. To Annie's fossa, I think.
Yeah.
Would you okay listen or while of net must you record our videos we might go there assume and he give Kirsten horror. What the road to be na he can shift.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know assumed and wrong the loon. So Kaim is probably had wrong got free just a quick share to go art because Tasha cast the Gujiga Nolan in the definitions is even there in the definitions of good this is still rubber jacket trial the hiking at heart so Tascom Shaw or I have young been scholarly killed that to Fuakur exercise 9.1 and they just move on. I guess he question or shen or leaving cert like it's usually on a 5-marker question. So could just move to Jerry scholarly lumps a jiggling should avoid that jiggling skipper. And James law just a good hen with the hen get skip kind of shake who to live, but just as good hen with you hen get a skipper because could just move to jockey kissing machine in knees or the leaving shirt very rarely. I guess my hick is usually a 5-marker question is worth 5 marks. So nabi what I'll body after do that trial the hygiene at harder. But by all means, what the adult hygiene at hearts the definitions all them perfect. But monowall nabi what after do because Niall monowalls get that Niall to go a hali image in markingly. Okay. All right. So funny over ballage and quick shea shart to art I guess Lori ma live to Louis.
Sure.
Yes.
Dagan Moran question says her logs.
Her logs right. Out the kishni jarna run mitch.
Yeah.
Naturogan Kosla 8 exponential function. We form login for an exponential growth da decay so the chicken in iskaminik. Task of decay has journal chicken iskaminik from exponential growth to so the mahin to back your past papers check to kishni fought the chartlanese ershan also was chucky kishni knees or logs Chuck should knees in the differentiation chucky logs and knees reached Chuck should knees in integration Chuck should knees in differentiation I guess in algebra faster cheek kishni knees or logs so yes a tasha tower to genomen to that logs go mice to double to because cheek should the knees come yes. Was it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kishni Biela. So you know, Mr. Scan the show the wrong logums in a leaving shirt match so go station hard curry ma show a givered modo ribbon hopefully he jiggle hog be you he now the HQ more a scan or BG print or BG I guess Lori my love to okay. Okay, slide us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.